Okay, Kelly, can you tell me how many people have responded?
11 of 16 have voted.
There may not be, for some of us, there may not be an option. For us. So I think we probably have everyone's response.
Okay.
Let me get down here. Let me look at who we have. I think that would be. Okay, so 45% of our participants tonight are district membership chairs, followed by 18% club presidents, club membership chairs, and 9% are district governor-elects. If you'd be so kind to mute yourself if you're not already muted to help us prevent feedback so we can all hear us speak to one another, I would greatly appreciate it. Throughout tonight, you'll have the option to be able to raise your hand, and we will call on you for comments and questions during that time. I just want to explain to you what we do as a coordinator team and what we're focusing on. We are really focusing on membership, and we're here to help all the districts and clubs throughout both zones 27 and 21B. And our goal is to help you. And that's one of the things that we're doing here tonight is our monthly Membership Matters webinar, presenting different options and different tools that can help your membership grow and retain in our districts. We encourage you to invite any Rotarian who wants to participate. This just is not for district leadership or club leadership. Any member, any Rotarian is more than welcome to join. You just need to submit your email address to either your assistant Rotary coordinator or directly to your Rotary coordinator, Sherry Munoz or Kelly Atkinson, and we can add them to the list and they'll automatically receive an invitation every month for the meeting. As a reminder, it's very, very simple. I want to give you a quick update on where we are in membership. Right now, as paired zones, we're down 457 members. So we can turn this around. We have 3 months left. And right now we have 4 districts that are in the positive. District 5690, District 5810, District 5690 is up 7 people, District 5810 is up 49, 5890 is plus 17, and 5930 is up 59. So only 4 districts out of 22 right now are showing a positive gain. If your district is not one of those, please feel free to contact your peer or someone in the other districts that can help share what they're doing that is making a difference, especially in the ones that are up 59 and 49 people. They're obviously doing something right, and we can learn from them. I would also encourage you right now, we are in our big training periods with our pets, training our club presidents, training our district leadership. I would strongly encourage you. I hear feedback from someone. If you could please self-mute, I'd really appreciate it. Uh-oh. Kelly, can you mute everyone right now?
I can, so hang on just a minute.
No problem. Okay. I love membership, and that's part of the reason I'm participating in as much as I do for membership. So in our district trainings, our district leadership trainings, our pets trainings, our club trainings that we're having this spring, please, please make membership a focus. Make it fun. Talk about vibrancy. Talk about vibrant clubs, about different ways that we can help grow Rotary and share Rotary. I think Rotary is one of the best kept secrets in the world. Rotary doesn't talk about its good deeds enough. And once people really get in on the secret of Rotary, they'll want to join us. It's all about us getting the word out about Rotary. Tonight, we are very fortunate. We have JulieAubry, who is our Rotary International Regional Membership Officer. And she is going to be talking tonight about strategy and resources for attracting prospective members. And so we're going to allow her time to go through her presentation this evening. And at the end, we'll be opening it up to questions about our presentation, but also questions for membership in general, comments that you may have, things that are working in your district. We'd love to hear about those things. So Kelly, if you'll turn it over to Julie, we'll get started.
Julie, if you just go down and hit your share screen or your screen share. and click that, you ought to be able to have your screen come up. There it is. It's starting. We see you. You've got almost as many icons on your desktop as I do.
Is Julie on mute? We may need to unmute her.
Julie, you just need to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Okay, I had a little bit of an issue. 1 second. Okay, so sorry about this. This is the first time using this platform for me. There we go. And can you see everything okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for bearing with me, having the patience. This is my first time presenting on Zoom specifically, so I'm used to GoToWebinar. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're going to be talking about attracting prospective members, both in terms of strategy and also the resources that are available to you that you might not be aware of so far. During the presentation, I really want you to think about some of the challenges and successes your club has had in attracting prospective members, and in which ways you could use or already have used some of the resources that we'll cover, and also any questions that you might have for me or your fellow Rotary leaders that are on the call, since this is always a great opportunity to have this time to talk with each other. So some of the things that we'll cover are identifying prospective members in your community, also opportunities for awareness that perhaps your club might not be taking full advantage of, taking the time to consider first impressions and also the importance of building the relationships with prospective members, the next steps once they've maybe said yes, and then also some of the resources we'll talk about throughout the presentation. Okay, so who exactly are your prospective members? You know, considering friends, neighbors, business acquaintances, those are a lot of our go-tos. And although it is surprising how many people sometimes don't think to ask their friends or don't think to ask their significant other, I think sometimes we think it's implied that they would always be welcome, but that there's never actually been the forward invite. Also, non-member volunteers who participate in your service projects with your club, those who have indicated an interest in your club but have not joined yet, maybe finding out what's holding them back and showing them what value they could get from joining your club. Also, former members who've left the club, either your club or a club in another club in the area. You never know the reason why. Sometimes it's time conflict. Sometimes it has to do with personal issues that come up that takes them away from the club. But keeping in touch with them and keep maintaining those relationships make them feel more welcome to possibly rejoin in the future if that's possible. Also consider young professionals who participated in Rotary programs such as group study exchange, vocational training, ambassadorial scholars, peace fellows, rotaractors, interactors, the families of those interactors, youth exchange students and their host families. All of these people have seen the benefit of Rotary and how important it is to have these positions that Rotary gives them in the world and in their community. So they've seen firsthand what Rotary can do. Making the ask or building the relationship with them before the ask is really important because it's drawing in them to become a bigger part of that. Also taking the time to look at your club dynamic. The most effective and vibrant clubs tend to reflect the demographics of the communities that they serve. So, pardon me. Increasing the number of women, young professionals, and members of various ethnic groups should be every club's goal. Rotary clubs that bring together diverse perspectives address the needs of their community more creatively. Diverse clubs also have greater credibility in their communities, wider range of skills, increased volunteer resources, expanded leadership prospects, and enhanced fundraising potential. So it really does make your club the best it can be when it does fully reflect the community. And some of these assessments are already available to you if you're not aware of that, and they can be modified for the needs of the club. But this includes, there's 3 different assessments within the publication membership assessment tools. One is identifying new members, great activities to get people thinking more dynamically about membership with the members of your club, and also diversifying your club and representing your community's professions. These can both help your club see if your membership demographic actually mirrors the local community in regards to gender, ethnicity, age, and profession, so that you can really have a well-rounded club in terms of potential and skills. And also making sure that you're collaborating with your membership officer, your committee, and getting all the members of the club on board and understanding how dynamic this could be if everyone's attuned to it could be really helpful, and also gives them more grounding in the club. So we spend so much time planning and promoting events that we're holding, whether they be service projects, fundraisers, celebrations. Sometimes we're partnering, whatever the case might be. We all take the time to contact the media, post it on social media, invite our friends, let people know about it, but sometimes an opportunity is missed at the event itself, showcasing the Rotary Club and what it does within the event. And it doesn't have to be overbearing or screaming at members about what the club does, but even just subtle facts about what the club is doing can really help promote and bring awareness about the club. You've got a captive audience here, so with some extra forethought and planning, it could be really effective. If you think about like product placement, where in a movie an advertisement might pay to have their model of car driven or brand of soda drank throughout the film, it's kind of like that, just subtly placing it throughout the event, no matter how small or big. And not just showcasing your Rotary Club's logo either, providing information about what your club is doing and also the relationship to your and the people who are attending, both of your community. So that could be talking about what the funds that are raised are supporting within the community, what projects your club has supported or is about to support, the opportunity for friendship and professional development at the meetings, their opportunity to do more with the support of your club, upcoming events that they might be interested in, and then also contact information, social media tags, or ways that they can follow up and connect with the club later, whether that be through email, phone call, if they're really old school and wanting to talk to someone, or just looking up online and getting a hold of your website so that they can do a little bit more research and find out more about your club. And kind of going hand in hand with this awareness of how your club is viewed through events is also taking the time to understand how your club's perceived. And that could be from your guest perspective. Is it easy for a visitor to find basic information about your club's next meeting? Ask a friend or a family member to try and locate the following information about your club. When does the meeting start? What day of the week? What exactly is entailed in the meeting, and where is it located? Do they need to contact the club ahead of time if they're not a member before they actually visit? Is there a cost? Is the meal included? Is there a meal? What's the meeting like? What can they expect if they're visiting this club for the first time? So that kind of preparation ahead of time will probably make them feel more comfortable and more aware of what they have to expect and how they can be best prepared. But then also taking the time to make sure that the club is appearing and behaving in a very welcoming and inclusive way. If they're having fun, is there somebody to greet the guests as they arrive and make sure that they find a good seat, and that someone is finding out why they're there, and what they're interested in from the club. Sharing an agenda with them. Are the speakers interesting and insightful and relevant? And is there sufficient variety in speakers and meeting topics? Or is it maybe the same people over and over again, or maybe a speaker that doesn't necessarily address what the club is interested in? So taking the time to kind of step back and look at these things. And along with that, when we're talking earlier about, identifying members to invite to your club, and taking the time to see not only your friends and family, how the club is perceived from maybe a guest perspective, looking online, preparing at a time, but also seeing what is it do they know about the club from what you've just talked about it. What is the message that you're delivering when you speak about your Rotary Club on a regular basis? Is it well-rounded? Do they really understand the full extent of what your club can do and reach? So part of that also has to do with the focus groups that that are listed here as well. Because if you're looking to reach a certain demographic, understanding what they're interested in, what service projects that they would be interested in, what value they're looking for in a club, it would be really helpful for your club to know, to see if they meet that, or if there's something that they can do to reach that. So every club is different. All goals are different, and all club experiences are different. But having a guest perspectives view on how this is welcoming to them, what's the value for them, is really helpful in approaching prospective members. But also trying to understand how your club is viewed by the community just as well. Do they understand how much you go above and beyond to help the community? Or is there something that you're missing? Is there an opportunity that you could expand on to meet the needs that aren't being met yet? One great takeaway for anyone that's visiting your club meeting, or perhaps visiting an event, there's this brand new customizable club brochure that's located on the Rotary website. If you log into My Rotary and go to the brand center that's located under Manage, this is brand new. You can fill in the information to go along with your events, to go along with the personality and the brand of your club, what your message is, what your mission is, can all be included in this. So you can change the text, you can include your club logo, you can also swap out the pictures so that it has pictures of your club specifically. Or maybe if you don't have any great photos right now, there are some stock photos for you to choose from. But to really make it personal, you have that option to make all of that stuff customizable. And once you're getting prospective members to actually attend the meetings or the events that you're hosting, taking the time to get to know them, to let them know about your club, keeping your message simple is really effective. If you overwhelm them with information, that's how they might feel, is overwhelmed. But also, do you have a 30-second elevator speech on your club? What's your passion for why you joined that club? Or what incredible things is your club doing for the community? Things like that you're ready to speak about offhand, and that are truthful. I mean, these are things that you think about, but maybe you haven't practiced saying them. So taking the time to consider that when discussing with prospective members might be really helpful. Also, like I said before, having a welcoming and inclusive environment is not only helpful for prospective members, it's helpful for everyone involved, new members, existing members. No one wants to feel like they're not valued or that they don't belong. So taking the time to consider, how's everything set up? Is there someone actually there to say hello? The first meeting that I was at, I wasn't really sure when it began, and there was no one there to let me know what was happening or where was happening. So having something that seems so disjointed and unorganized and not really prepared made me wonder about the effectiveness of the club, as I'm sure other prospective members feel the same way. They're there, they want to make a change, they're interested, you just have to reel them in. And then also showing them the value of why they should become a Rotarian. In this day and age with the internet, there's a lot of accessibility to different places where you can volunteer, one time, a couple of times. Why is your club the best? Why do they need to be spending their time with you? Because a lot of people, even though many people are busy, if you show them the value of why they belong there, they'll be there. They'll make that a priority, but they have to envision it first. And also, if you have prospective members that have never heard of Rotary, or maybe their father was a Rotarian or their grandfather, somebody in their family, they remotely know about Rotary, but they're not really sure what it is, giving them the vision where they can see themselves in it, where they can see themselves as Rotarians or a member of this club, will really paint a huge picture for them, because it gives them the opportunity to picture it as their club, not someone else's, not some thing that they know vaguely about, a place where they belong and where they're going to grow and where they'll thrive. So painting that picture, though might take a little extra time, could be really beneficial. And I always like to compare getting to know prospective members a little bit like dating. If your club is constantly talking about membership and either the struggles with it, or people aren't showing up to meetings, or this is the first impression that a prospective member gets, is that you just want them to join because you want bodies in the building, they're probably not going to be in it. They might, taking the time to make sure that this member is a good fit for the club, that the club thinks they can really empower the club. Taking that time so that you're not putting in all this energy for someone that doesn't think it's going to work out, or maybe the club thinks they're great, but maybe they're not a right fit for this club. Making sure everyone's a good fit. But coming on a little strong might turn off the prospective member into thinking that, again, you're desperate. But and then showing them the vision of why they should be there. Taking that time is really going to be helpful. So, and of course, once the questions popped, when you're proposing membership, if you receive a yes, the work, of course, is not done at that point. Making sure that the member is engaged with other members, paired with a mentor, getting them involved on a project or committee are great next steps to ensure that they're supported and off to a good start. And we know that retention-wise, the numbers that we know of, people leave most times within the first or second year. Whether it be they were off to a good start and then maybe after 6 months there was no one there to make sure that they knew the way, that they understood the dynamic of the club, or how to get into leadership positions, or how to start a new service project, something like that. If there's not a way, or if they're not feeling supported, a lot of times they'll leave. So taking that time is really important. And then a few more resources that are helpful in this experience. Creating a positive experience for prospective members is a great walkthrough through some of the steps that I just mentioned earlier. Also, I couldn't love this more. Membership best practices discussion group. So this is through my Rotary, and it's the most popular discussion group by far. As you can see, it's got more than 2,800 members. I think the next largest is only a couple hundred members. So you've got your fellow Rotarians from all over the world talking about different threads, whether it be, how do I talk about my club in a dynamic way? Or, what has been your experience of having this type of event to attract members? If there's a thread already, you can always add to it, ask questions, contribute, or you can start a new thread asking questions. as long as it has to do with membership, everyone is very interested, and it gives notifications to other members of the group when something has been updated. So it's a great way to connect with your fellow Rotarians about maybe some of the same issues you've all been experiencing. So now that I've talked about some ways to approach this, I did want to open it up for some discussion. I do have a couple success stories of my own to share, but I wanted to see if anyone else had any successes that they wanted to share about ways to approach prospective members, ways that they've used these resources, or things that they would be interested in doing. So Kelly, I'm not sure how to go about this, if we're looking at raised hands here, or what do you want to do?
We are looking for raised hands.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Okay, in the meantime, I'll share one thing that was shared to me by a club, was if you're having a really dynamic guest speaker, and if they're very engaged on social media, asking them to promote on their social media that they're talking at your club is a great way to reach a whole new audience that has nothing to do with your club. That they'll be at your club, and maybe if it's an open invitation, this could bring in more prospective members. And then of course, engaging with the guest speakers themselves to see if they might be a good fit for the club as well is always a good way to go. But that's a couple of ways in which you can reach a new audience as well.
Lisa, I'm going to unmute everybody. And okay, so
I don't know if you're going to be able to.
yeah, I'm going to unmute everybody because I don't see the hand raising feature.
No, Kelly, I don't think you can. Kelly, I think we're going to have to keep people muted unless you have everyone can unmute themselves. If you have a comment or question, feel free to unmute yourself, since we're not able to see people raising their hand at this time. I have a comment. I have a question about something that you presented tonight, Julie. Can you hear me? We have a question. Mary has a question. Right? Do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I unmuted you because I saw your hand.
Testing the raising the hand because you said it didn't work, and I thought, well, let's see if it works.
Do you have a comment?
Where that is?
I'd see it now when you raised your hand. I see it now. I can lower your hand. Or do you have a comment or a question, Mary?
It's right there. I didn't actually have a question.
Okay.
I was just testing it.
Okay. Susan, I see your hand is raised. Do you have a comment or a question?
I was just doing the same thing as Mary. If as a participant, you want to raise your hand, if you click on the little icon on the bottom that says participants, click on that. It'll come up with a list. At the very bottom of the list, it says raise hand. So
correct.
If somebody else wants to raise their hand and say something, there you go.
I have a question. On the brochure, Julie, on the brochure, is it new and improved so that the clubs can put in their own pictures?
And that was Glenda, right? Glenda?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, they can. I believe that they can put their own pictures in. This is Lisa Faith. She had mentioned that now the clubs can insert their own pictures or use pictures from our iStock.
Correct. I think I was muted before. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, that was supposed to happen originally when they had the club brochures posted to the brand center, and for whatever reason the platform it was on would not allow it. Now you are able to upload your own photos, insert your own text, or use some of the text that's already there as suggestion. There's also stock photos in case you need some fillers or in case some of your photos are not up to par just yet. So you've got some options.
All right. We did one at our club.
Okay, Elaine Hernandez has her hand is raised. Elaine, you're unmuted. Elaine,
You hear me?
we can hear you.
Oh, good. All right. I wanted to mention a part of District 5930 that has that magnificent growth. Although we're still wishing that it were 300 times that amount. But we've been targeting a lot of the younger professionals in our community and forming satellite clubs and evening clubs. So it seems to be working. But another strategy that we're using a lot is really slowly developing quality relationships with major organizations like our local school district. I've been meeting with superintendent and officials talking about mentorships and how students can come and be paired up with our members, maybe quarterly or monthly, to come and listen to the student at work site of the Rotary Club member, and really develop this mentorship piece and as Rotary calls them, emerging leaders, how we help the school district identify young people and provide that mentorship for them. We're also now, because of this conversation with the school district is really interested in integrating the youth exchange program within their promotional materials. So they want to go out now, but they would like a dozen students to go out around the world and also to be able to receive a dozen. So it's working, and slowly but surely quality relationships that I think is resulting not only in attracting new members, but retaining them.
And the other thing that your district is doing, Elaine, if y'all have had 2 membership cadre specialist membership matter seminars as well, and I know you have a third one coming up as well that has helped, I think, focus your district on strategic planning and doing the things like you're doing. Is that correct?
Well, we just have a wonderful district governor. What can I say? She's really dynamic. So Debbie High is doing a great job. And now, of course, we have Betty Lara, who's our next district governor. So there's a lot of good energy and strategic visioning going on in the district. But we're not interested in numbers. We're interested in relationships. Good. And I think that's part.
Great. Thank you so much for your comment. George, you have a comment or a question, and you are unmuted, my friend.
Yes. If Julie could just touch base again on how do we find the club brochure?
Sure. If you log on to my if you go to the Manage section, it'll bring up a drop-down menu. You'll click on the Brand Center, go to the Brand Center, and then it'll bring up different options. You can go to Club Materials, and it'll have customizable items there where you can create your own club logo, but also you can create your own club brochure in the same section.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually have a question about the brochure as well. This is Lisa Faith. Is it easy to use, Julie?
There are some, I would say it's easy to use, but it takes a while. You do want to load all the information one step at a time. Mm-hmm. And then also loading all the photos. But so that in itself is not something that's super quick. But the good thing is that the format is already set up for you. Okay. So it's easy to use, but it takes a little bit of time. That's what I would say.
Okay, so does it need to be someone who's exceptionally literate at the computer?
I would not say so. No, you don't have to be an absolute pro or anything. Just follow along like if you're highlighting certain texts, it'll pop up a window on the right side of the screen where you can enter in new text in its behalf. Okay. And if you come across any trouble using this, you can always reach out to RA staff, myself included, but also you have some contacts in the support center, club and district supports. If there's any questions or any problems while you're doing this, we would be happy to offer assistance when you're going through it. But the last thing we want is you feeling frustrated or lost, or maybe you feel like you're not doing something right. We want you to know you have support.
Okay, and also in that pamphlet, is that now, so you fill it all out, and then do you download a PDF format file and then print it from there?
You could print it from there. They do recommend, like, it's going to be, of course, higher quality if you sent it to a printer. But there's also recommendations for what format it should be saved, how it should be printed. Again, these are just recommendations. If you're doing something kind of on the cheap and you don't have the funds necessarily to send it to a printer, you can always print it yourself as well.
Okay, and finally, I have one last question about this pamphlet, because I think it's an awesome tool, easy for people to do, relatively quickly. It doesn't take months or anything.
Oh, yeah, no.
Can it be customized for your district?
I believe so. I'll have to look. I haven't used it in that way, but I think really you could use it for not just your club, but I think you can use it for your district, or even focusing on a specific project. So you can customize that text, as far as I know. Let me follow up on that just to make sure, but I'm like 90% sure that you can do that for your district as well.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions for Julie on her presentation? Or comment?
I did want to piggyback on something that Elaine said.
Please.
Since she mentioned using satellite clubs to reach a different demographic, one thing that I've spoken about before, I didn't try and include it tonight because I've talked about it so much in the past, was that there is so much flexibility now. If the problem that you're having with reaching new members is that it's a matter of the time of day or the day of the week, you do have the flexibility to, you can start new satellite clubs, as Elaine has done. You can also add new meeting times or new meeting days to reach perhaps some of the people that haven't been able to make it to your meetings. So that's just one suggestion. You don't have to reinvent the wheel if it's just to get maybe one or two members. But if you're finding that this is a consistent thing where people aren't able to make it either in the morning or at noon, maybe adding a happy hour meeting once or twice a month could reel in some new members. Or Saturday morning, as people start the weekend, having something as at a coffee shop, or having breakfast together, something like that. So just some options to consider.
Okay. I have the one thing I liked what you said, Julie, about getting to know you and having people about your elevator speech, when you brought that up about having something to say. One of the things that I was talking with some people was, when someone asks you, oh, what is Rotary? What does your club do? Is rather than responding with, oh, about your fundraiser, about your fish fry or whatever your fundraiser be, to respond with, these are the projects we do and this is the service we do in our community. And let them ask you, well, how do you raise money, or what do you do to be able to do those things? And then you can talk about your fundraiser. Sometimes I've found that people are kind of put off if our first response is talking about our fundraiser rather than our service project. So I'd like everyone to keep that kind of in mind, that rather than, we all want to have great fundraisers and great success because we do a lot of great things with that money we raise. But people aren't interested in our fundraisers. They're really interested in how they can give back to their communities, both locally and internationally. And I think that's important for us all to remember when we're talking and developing people about membership.
I think that's a great idea. Also, if you end up having just a really fun community event where it does involve some fundraising, but it's not necessarily the main focus, that's a great way to introduce people to your club or get to know some of the members, and then they can also see that they can participate in the fundraiser. But like you said, it's not necessarily the opener to that discussion, which is nice.
Right. It goes back to the dating aspect, right?
Yes. I know that's so silly, Kelly, but it's true. If you come on too strong, you'll scare people away.
Well, it is true. And part of the thing I think also is inviting prospective people to social events, or if your district's fortunate to have family of Rotary events or service projects, and giving them that experience first and then bringing them to a meeting. Your first date could be something a little bit more hands-on than going to a meeting. And if it is going to be a meeting, making sure that it's a very valuable meeting, a very interesting program, and things like that. So
exactly. I saw one note asking me to talk about how to join the discussion group for membership.
okay.
So I wanted to mention that if you log on to My Rotary and you go under the section, so before for brochures it was under Manage, right? For this it's under Exchange Ideas, and you can scroll down to Discussion Groups. If you just search by the word membership, it will pull up membership best practices first. And literally you can add join, and you can either look through the discussions that are already happening. I love doing this because I love seeing some of the tips and success stories that are posted there. But then also, for me, it's helpful to see, what challenges people have in common, so it can help us create more resources. So this is a great platform to share your feedback about the challenges your club's having, but then also to pick up successes from other people to bring back to your club, or share your own successes with your fellow Rotary leaders.
Does anyone in the group have any questions about membership at all? Not just about this presentation for Julie. She has a wealth of knowledge, and this is your opportunity. George has a question. Let me unmute you, George. Okay, George.
It's actually a suggestion.
Perfect.
We have our new members do a brief presentation about their background experience, what attracts them to Rotary, things about their family. And we wait until we've got 2 or 3 new members, and then invite other prospective members to that meeting, so that they're hearing about Rotary from people who have just recently joined it. And there's such good enthusiasm and passion. And we just recently had 3 new members give their talks, and one of our guests that was there is now going to be inducted as a member at the end of this month.
Excellent. I love that. Like you said, and the nice thing is the new members are not, they're only a few steps ahead of the prospective members, right? So it's a way that they can envision themselves joining this club, perhaps. So thank you
Very
for
much
sharing
so.
that.
Thank you, George. Any other comments or questions for Julie? I don't see any hands raised. Y'all are a quiet group.
I did receive a message asking if there's any pre-recorded videos on Rotary membership that you could show. There's some great snippets on My Rotary Story that are available through My Rotary. On the membership page, there's a membership video there. What I can do is maybe I can get in touch with Kelly and send some of the links to these things, because I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, and I want to make it easy for you to find. But the sharing your Rotary story, those are great because they're only 1.5 minutes long, most of them. They don't have to tune in very long, but they're seeing the passion behind some of the volunteers in Rotary and why they joined and why they're still there. So I think that they're very relatable. I think they're very inspiring. So I will follow up on links to these. I'm going to make a note of it right now. Thank you so much for that question.
And maybe he can put that on our zone website and our growth page where we're focused on membership. Possibly that can be put in the toolbox or something like that, those links as well.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. I like that. Do we have any other comments or questions for Julie on anything in membership?
I've got a comment. This
Please.
is Terry from District 5400.
Thank you.
I take the opportunity to express Rotary when I can, and I see Maria's on, and she's heard this before, but Kelly, I talked to you about this. we talk about satellites. How do we form a satellite? Where do we go to get that core group to get going? And I had occasion to be at a Lowe's warehouse one day buying something from a home. And I asked the manager there if he was a Rotarian, and he said no. And of course, we began to talk, and I said, well, you know, it would be nice if you had some of your people belong to our organization. He said, well, you know, we do our own community projects. We've got about 40 people in our company here that go out and, you know, do repair work on homes and whatnot. And I got to thinking to myself, why don't we have Rotary in these companies? Why isn't that a satellite club? Why aren't they using their expertise, their energies to be a Rotarian and multiply the ability to do projects? They're just using their own company funds when they could get grants from us and do more. So I would suggest that maybe as an idea, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, Freddie Myers, a Costco, you name it, a bank, financial institution, a real estate agencies that's got people, get them to be your satellite. And we can have multiple satellites under the auspices of one club. A suggestion.
Thank you for that. It's a great way to reach out to different talents in the community. But maybe even like before starting the satellite too, getting them to know about your club as well as part of that process, getting that buy-in, because some of these people might be volunteering, you know, some of the funds from their store, but they're not paying a membership. Showing them the value of a membership, I think, is really going to help build that as well. But I think it's a great idea to reach out to all those institutions. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a great idea, I think. Any other comments or questions? Elaine, Mary, you have your hand raised. I have unmuted you, Mary.
Okay, hi. You know, we had our membership meeting today, and I am actually from that amazing, we have +5 in our last year. So, you know, we have kind of thrown around trying to figure out a slogan of some sort, particularly to attract new members. And it will take a while because there's a lot of discussion around that, but we think it might help to come up with some kind of a hip, you know, memorable, meaningful, makes people want to join slogan. And I don't know if Rotary has worked on something like that already. So that would be my question. Have you? And
I would say probably the closest to that is the part of the new voice. You know, exchange ideas, join leaders. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking out on the last one. That's terrible.
so do I have access to that somewhere that I can?
Oh yes. No, if you go onto My Rotary and look in the brand center, there is a wealth of information on how to talk about your club, but there's also an identity guide that has some really good information on ways that people have voiced their club mission, all these things. So I would really recommend that. So in the brand center, that's where I would recommend going for some of that information.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mary. Elaine, you were the next person with her hand raised, and you are unmuted.
I really wanted to ask what is why the decline in membership in the United States and some of the European countries, and the growth, of course, in other countries that seem to have a stronger middle class. You know, here at the Texas-Mexico border, the rhetoric coming out of intent of sort of anti-foreign, it's sort of everything is ROSE stands for multiculturalism, international understanding, and peace. And yet there's a tone in our country right now of fear of foreigners, etc. Here at the border, we're seeing that we're reaching out to our Mexican neighbor Rotarians, just so that, you know, for us, we're trying to bridge this border at we're the same as always been before, and that we still are family on both sides of the river, and that a wall that's going to be constructed is not a wall that's going to stop Rotary in and our Rotary relationship. So I just wanted to hear if there's sort of that analysis of what's happening in the United States with, it's related to our membership, but it's related to an attitude in the out there in towards people of other cultures.
Well, there is some research. Actually, it's funny, in the membership assessment tools that I discussed earlier, there is a whole section on research that's been done very thoroughly on member retention. People, like reasons why people leave less than a year after joining, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, even after 10 years. So there's a great deal of information there, and then also some tips on how to combat that. As far as specifically related to the political climate, I think that one thing that Rotary is great about embracing is promoting peace. Because clubs are autonomous, of course, the members are always going to bring their own opinions to these club meetings, but again, stressing the inclusiveness and welcoming environment. I think that this is a struggle that not only the U.S. faces as far as not necessarily reflecting the diversity that exists in our communities. That's not something that's unique to the U.S. That's a problem that happens in a lot of places that we're still working on changing. So I think the first thing is to admit that there's an issue. So that's one thing I'm glad that you brought up tonight. And I think that taking the time to understand that issue and moving forward is only going to be more helpful in approaching the different demographics that you would love for them to have an opportunity to be a part of Rotary. And so it can also benefit your entire community, not just part of it. This is an issue that's still coming up as far as gender diversity, ethnic diversity, age. A lot of people some people tend to they get offended by talking about young professionals. As far as I've been told before that Rotary is ageist. That's not an issue at all. We want all members that are passionate about contributing to their community and internationally. The problem with it is there are certain communities where clubs are literally dying out. And how sad to not have members to carry that legacy into the future. So that's where, really having all these perspectives, having a future for the club, it's not targeting specific members, it's targeting everyone, but making sure that it's well-rounded. So I hope that helps. I hope that some of the retention information that we have available is helpful for understanding some of the issues in your own club.
Thank you. Susan, you have a question. You are unmuted at this time.
Thanks. I didn't so much have a question as I was going to kind of respond to, I think it was Mary who asked about a hip, cool slogan.
Yes, that's true.
I was just going to say, I think Rotary already has enough slogans, probably too many at this point. Like service above self is the thing. And then like Julie mentioned, join leaders, exchange ideas, take action. And then we have a different theme every year. And then I've seen like Rotary has heart come up somewhere or another. There's already a lot. And so I think we'd be better served to embrace what is already there instead of trying to come up with something different, because we already have all these resources based on what we have. And that's kind of what Rotary is at least known for. I mean, those things, service above self, we've heard that before, and it's not something new that we're trying to like reinvent the wheel, somebody said earlier. So I don't think we need to add any additional slogans to this. It just maybe better use and more consistently use the ones we already have.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. George, you had your hand up for a comment or a question. You're unmuted, George.
It's actually a comment. It also was for Mary. Several years ago, our club went through a strategic planning process. We did come up with a club mission. That club mission is serving the underserved. And what we've noticed has happened since then is that we are attracting new members with a message that says, if you have something that you're passionate about, you can leverage that in Rotary. And if it's an area that you believe needs more attention, that's part of our club mission, is to serve the underserved, not to step in where everyone else is already there, but to be a catalyst to make something happen. And we have members now that were born in the Philippines, in India, and in Zimbabwe. And they've all joined our club with that sense of, I know people back in my home country, and I believe we can, and we've been doing some projects in the Philippines and in India over the past couple of years.
Great. Thank you, George. I appreciate it. And this will be our last comment for this evening. Terry, you had your hand raised. You're unmuted.
Okay. How do I get on video?
You're on video, my friend.
Oh, you seeing me?
Yes.
Can you see that? Does everybody see that?
Yes.
That's our slogan for this year. And I'm getting a lot of mileage out of it. Rotary has just gone through a rebranding, have they not?
A couple years ago. Yep.
Okay. Well, let's ride for the brand. I'm a cowboy. That's what cowboys do.
I like it.
When I went to Assembly, I took this. This was the only magnet they sold. They gave away up there. And, you know, the people in North America kind of understood it, but the Oriental countries, they kept scratching their head. What does he mean? But in all respect, this is what we're doing in our area.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Terry. I like it a lot. Okay. Julie, I thank you so much for your presentation tonight and taking the time to spend with Zones 27 and 21B. I am going to turn it back over to Kelly now, and Kelly is going to get 30 seconds for his plug. Kelly, take it away. Maybe I need to unmute Kelly. I do. There you go, Kelly.
Thanks, Lisa. Great job. I just want to remind those on the call that we have regional trainings coming up. And the one for Zone 27 will be July. Let me just double check that right now and make sure that I give you the right dates. July 21st and 22nd. Okay, and that's going to, that you can register for that right now online at rizones21-27.org. And then I also know, I know that Bob Deal. Bob, do you have the dates of yours?
It's in August 1st or 2nd weekend, one of the two.
I had to unmute here. It's the 11th and the 12th of August.
Okay, do you have the registration up online yet?
Well, the registration link is there, but Bob Geppert is still working on it a little bit to make it perfect. So
okay,
probably best to wait a few days.
So get those dates if you're going to the one in Denver, get that on your calendar. If you're going to the one down in Austin, get it on your calendar. We're now prepared to launch this poll.
Perfect.
If you just take a minute and take the poll. Please.
Yeah, it's important that we get your feedback on our sessions that we're having monthly. We want to improve what we're doing and make sure that we're offering something valuable to the participants. We really want to increase the participation across our zones throughout all the districts. I want to say thank you to Kelly and Sherry for allowing me to host this evening's webinar. And excuse Sherry, I know that she and Al, her husband, are in India visiting their children and grandchildren. And I know this is a special time, and she'll be back soon, and she'll be back for next month's sessions. And with that, I think we're right at 9 o'clock. We had 57%, about the same as previous calls, and 29% of us felt is more valuable. I thank you for your time this evening, and we will talk to you next month. Thank you.
Good job, Lisa.
Great
Thank
job.
you. I'm trying, my friends.
Well done, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Susan, you're on the line, right?
Yep, I'm here. I was muted, but yep, I'm here.
Okay, great. Just hang in there a little bit longer. And Glenda, you're on the line?
Yes, and I think Kathy is too.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm on.
We're all here. Okay, we're just gonna go through. For you that are on the line, you're welcome to listen to us. There's nothing we have.
I'm done, right?
Yep. Everybody else is done. I'm going to stop recording.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lisa.
No problem.
Great job.
Mm.
Good job.
Yep. See you, Terry.